This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Network broadcast studios here in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, and the United States of America. Do you want to be part of the 30-day or 60-day transformation? It's almost summertime. If you do, contact Sizzle at any of our social media platforms at Fit to be Trained. Here's your host of Sizzle, Karen Dougherty.
I love how you have it together today, and I do not. I do not. Steve was even like, "Hey, girl, I'll interview you. I'll help you out." And I was like, "Wow, it must be really obvious that I don't have it together." So,
well, we're not used to doing Fridays, a little bit of a curveball.
I guess. Yeah, we both had family issues on the same day on Wednesday. Wednesday was a tough day. But here we are. We got through it, right, Steve?
Which leads us correct. Is this going to be our new live time, 2:30 p.m. on Fridays? Does that sound good?
That does. That's fine with
me. So for all of the audience out there, you can catch this program live here on the website, deependbroadcasting.com, or at the YouTube channel, Deep End Broadcasting. All right, or via at least my Facebook. Well, Karen post the fact to Spotify and Apple, and and then you can catch it there as well.
Yeah, I usually
replay to follow.
Yeah, I usually upload everything on the weekend to follow that Wednesday. So it's not even going to be. It'll affect the live people, but not anybody else. And so we'll just do that. And you seem super perky. I'm on an off day. So I was glad that when you said, yes, let's do it Friday, or this morning when we spoke, let's do it today at 2. And I was like, okay, that's going to force me to get myself together. Cause I started work this morning at 6 and I got done at 11, and I tried, but I'm stressed out this week. Oh God, I admit out. My kids had some medical procedures and stuff, and it's hard as a mom to kind of not worry about them. So I was glad that after I got done work today that I got to do this and take my mind off things. And you are perky as can be, aren't you?
I think it's just a Friday.
And it's warmed up.
Different vibe than hump day. You got the weekend coming up. And
yeah. Okay. So I'm glad if you want to do this at 2:30 now. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna get on with today's episode. I'm thinking discipline. We did procrastination and perfectionism last week, and that ties into this. Discipline ties into both of those subjects. So think of, opening with, how people think of discipline. People think of discipline as like restriction, punishment, suffering, something negative. And discipline kind of has that negative tone to it. So people, tend to shy away from it. But really, discipline is a form of care. It's saying I matter enough to follow through. And I'm proud to say I went to the gym yesterday. I still been doing my workouts and all that. I know it does deserve an applause because it's been so cold here, and I go at 6 a.m. So not to be a whiner, but at 6 a.m. in Virginia, it was like 20 degrees. And I even have a car starter, so I really can't whine. I just couldn't do it. And I've noticed as I've aged that I'm just going to put my gym on pause on Januaries every year because I never go. I don't do it. So I'm going to give myself that break. But now we're in February. I'm going to go back. It's getting warmer here. And it does take discipline to do it. It's uncomfortable. But like I said, discipline is a form of care. I felt better for doing it. I'll tell you, I'm proud of myself. And I wasn't not proud of myself for not going. I don't want to sound like I was beating myself up, but I do feel better for going, and I'm ready because I'm like, okay, that means spring's coming. I'm ready to kind of turn up the volume. I start doing that with my clients anyway. We start adding, more cardio in and up in the reps, maybe lowering the weight, but upping the reps and kind of doing leaner things, working the shoulders. If you work your shoulders, it gives you a chiseled look in your waistline. I know that because I'm kind of a square body. And you just start doing different things as spring starts approaching because we're building that summer bod, but it takes discipline to get it going. And perfectionism punishes, if you think about it. Perfectionism punishes, like what we talked about last week. Like, oh, if I don't do it perfect, I'm not going to do it at all. But discipline supports. That's a supportive way, say that to yourself. You're not trying to be perfect, but you're trying to do yourself right, or you wouldn't have the idea to start getting healthy or whatever it is you want to do, like start walking, or it doesn't even have to be always about fitness. But since this is a fitness show, that's what we're doing. Perfectionism says don't mess up, where discipline says keep going. So try not to, let me swing back. Try not to think of discipline as restriction, punishment, or suffering, because it's not. Try not to have that negative to it. We work with, we interview master athletes often, and who has more discipline than them? That takes a lot of discipline to reach to that level. But we've all come to the, that's their goals. That doesn't have to be everybody's goals. So perfectionism would sneak in and be like, oh, okay, if I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do it at all. That would be ridiculous. Not everybody's made to go to the CrossFit games or the Olympics. The Olympics is on this week. Not everybody's cut out for that. That's why we watch them. They're stars. But imagine the discipline that it takes to get there. And we're like, I don't really want to do that. But they do. Let's watch them and cheer them on.
My good buddy, Rob Grab, I'll give him a shout out. He posted, so he's been doing the CrossFit games every year since they came out. Mm-hmm. And he has his like rankings, like year by year, where he's come through. And now he's my age, so he's like 51.
Do you mean the Open? He does the CrossFit Open. Yes, he does the Open, not the games.
I call the Open the games. Yes, to me that's the same thing.
But they have to make it to the games. Yeah.
I got you. I figure once you do the Open, that's kind of like you're in the games anyway.
That's true. That's a good way to think of it because it's motivating.
It's the first round.
Like that.
It's kind of weeding out. Because everyone can advance, right? Technically, like you said, if there's things you can't do, obviously you're going to only get to some certain point. And, you don't want to let the perfection thing ruin your mood of things, because look how good you did. And that's kind of my point. Rob is, where he started to where he is now. Uh-huh. They'll tell you his rankings. And he's actually like,
really? That would be so, I wish I would have done that.
Well, for our age group, he's actually like 340th in the world or something like that.
That's amazing. Is he he must be in fantastic shape.
Yeah, he's in really good
because
shape.
To be 350th in the world means you're in fantastic shape, y'all.
Yes.
It sounds like a lot, but it's not.
But you can see his number getting better and better.
Yeah, that's
each
what
year.
I would want to see is his times and his improvement.
Yeah, that's from the discipline. And obviously you're not knocking the leather off the baseball there, but if you see that mass improvement,
that's motivating.
What more do you want in life?
Right. And that's so motivating for some of us. I know I'm trying to get hooked into, because I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, I always, every year, I'm going to be like, I'm getting in the best shape ever this year. I do every year, and I don't do it every year, but I think it every year. And then something gets in my way and life gets in my way. And I'm like, oh, well, I tried because I do I still exercise and eat right. So anything that I want to do up and above and beyond basic health is a choice. That's why I'm trying to get people to just do the basics. I just want people to move and eat better. I'm not trying to make athletes out of them. That's a choice to go a higher level. And that's even a choice that I always want to go to just a little bit higher level. I wish I would have joined the Open every year because I like statistics, but because of perfectionism, Steve, when I could do the Open, when I was in my 40s, when I first joined CrossFit, it was perfectionism that made me not. I didn't want to know. I used to literally say to my friends, I don't want to know how bad I am because then it might mess with my motivation. But I don't think it would have. I just was egotistical. I didn't want to know. Where now I can't do a lot of the moves, or something takes me out they should have modifications all the way. I think last year I had a knee issue. Like this year, I'm actually in really good shape. Maybe I should do it this year. I try to do the workouts. I just don't sign up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I like how you said you sign up and treat it as the games. That's a whole different way of motivating. Good for you. I wish I would have thought of that when I was younger, being a perfectionist. It's so stupid. But they, they don't train because it's easy. I'm watching Tammy, and she's training, she was doing muscle ups the other day, like not people. Like I can't even do a really good pull up. So, but I still go. Right. I use the band and all that stuff. Right. But they're at such a level. She just trains and trains and trains. They train because it's a promise to themselves. If you think about it, that's what they want to do. That's their goal. So they're going to train at the level that it needs to be to get to that goal. And it is a lot. That's why they deserve to be celebrated so much, because it takes tremendous discipline. Discipline becomes an identity, not a punishment. So I really liked this when I was doing my research, because it helps, you stop looking at discipline, because discipline sounds like a negative word. Anybody that has a rebellious bone in their body doesn't like the word discipline. It's like, just kind of, your dad's going to come home and discipline you. When I was little, right. I'd hear it there, so it's a negative, kind of. So I liked how doing this, researching this, because I wanted to do something that tied in with the perfectionism and procrastination. And this was it, how to tie this in and make discipline a positive so you wouldn't run away from it, procrastinate it, showing up for a 10-minute walk instead of skipping the day. Like I really wanted to skip this podcast today. I knew I could get away with it because, we had family issues with both of us. And I'm so glad now that I'm going. It's just like exercising. Like I've got my endorphins are going. I'm excited. The subject is interesting. It's going to help me motivate. Maybe I even go to the gym this afternoon, because Fridays, sometimes I like to go like kind of like a happy hour time at like 4:30. And there's a whole group that goes then. So you never know. Like, sometimes it takes discipline rather than me cancel. And I knew I would get away with it with Steve. I was like, no, I'm going to do this because this is what I say that I do every week. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And it brings me happiness. Sometimes I just need a little nudge. Choosing to sleep over scrolling. That's a good choice. Scrolling is super unhealthy.
Oh yeah, you should. I
just go to sleep.
Phone to bed with me, which no one should ever do that.
Yeah, don't take the phone to bed with you. I do have it on my nightstand. I have
put
to
it on the charger somewhere.
Yeah, because I do use it for my alarm. But I try not to scroll at night. But I'm not necessarily doing anything better. I'm on a different screen. I watch TV.
I've been doing it because I'm stuck up. I've been stuck awake with my sleep issues, which seem to have corrected themselves
Yay.
a little bit.
That's why you're so
So far,
perky.
so good.
Perky.
That's what I was saying. I'm like,
What happened?
You're like, you're cheery today. I'm
Do
like,
you know what happened? What's different?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I mean, I wasn't drinking a lot, but I was drinking for football.
Yeah. That makes
But
sense.
when there's no
The
football
season.
on,
Right.
but that is only once a week. But I guess that once a week is enough to screw you up too, though.
Wow, that's
if you-
true. Yep. During sports season, men drink more. Interesting, because I'm sure you're not the only one. Now that people make it a ritual to go to bars and watch the game.
I don't miss it at all.
That's cool. That's neat. So yeah, maybe it did mess with your sleep. Interesting. Well, good. Keep it up. So saying no to something that drains you. So I can't really come up with an example, except I've been saying no to a lot of things that, because I'm 59 and a half. Like exactly. I know it because I just know that I am, because my birthday's in August and we just had February 16th. And I'm allowed to take money out of my IRA without being punished at 59 and a half. They usually would take money from you if you would take money out of your savings prior. So that's another reason why I know, because I get to pay off some debt. Woo! But I'm more about time now. Like, how am I going to spend my time? It's not always about like, how am I going to make more money, or am I going to work myself into the ground to make more money? And I'm doing more things that I enjoy, and by no means am I independently wealthy where I can just do whatever I want. I'm not there yet. But I have to keep working, but I do love my job. And I do have the space to say no. If there's projects that I don't want to do, I can say no to them. Or, sometimes things are too far to travel. I don't travel as far as I used to, because that'll take it out of you too if you have to travel pretty far for work or something. And I don't do that anymore. Just kind of age out of stuff and give yourself the, permission to say no to things. Keeping a small promise to rebuild self-trust. So I think that's really deep. I'll say it again. Keeping a small promise to rebuild self-trust. And I think self-trust is not anything that I've ever pondered ever. And being somebody who gets into coaching others to when they want to quit drinking or drugging or anything that's on that level, when they're trying to change habits that have really been just, destroying them, and they're starting this new life. I forgot how you do lose trust in yourself. And I can't say that I've ever really thought of it like that. And keeping up a small promise to rebuild your self-trust, that's a beautiful thing, because I think during addiction, I probably did lose trust in myself. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do certain things, or I didn't trust maybe traveling with my son because I might have to drive home. And I'd be drinking or drugging or something, so just stuff that, I knew I couldn't trust myself. And those are just examples. But I think building self-trust by, just me going back to the gym and going, all right, I can do it. Okay, next week, it's supposed to be fairer. There's no weather, issues. I can do it. I think that's cool. Like, building self-trust. I've never, ever heard it verbalized like that. And that's what this podcast is for. Like, for me, that's something I'll file in the back of my head. And I always hope that maybe just one thing that we say, any of our guests or me or Steve say, that makes things more understandable for you. That's the thing. Makes a light bulb moments. Oprah used to call them that. Light bulb moments. The emotional core. Discipline is self-respect, self-trust, self-protection, and self-leadership. There's not much to add to that. Self-respect, self-trust, self-protection, self-leadership. It is not about being good. It's about being aligned. And that's cool. God, I needed this today. um, I decided I went because I'm always on Chat GPT now. I have to name it. I feel weird that it doesn't have a name. So I've named it different things. Like I was thinking sage for a while. Sage, sage is like because mine is very wise and very helpful to me. But I asked if I could have some fun facts. I asked for research backed statistics of fun facts about discipline. And this is what I got. Discipline beats motivation, literally. A study from the University of Chicago found that people who rely on motivation alone are less consistent than those build habits in discipline. So motivation fluctuates. Discipline stabilizes behavior. So there's another positive. If you take away anything from this podcast, let it be that you find something positive in the word discipline than maybe something negative, like I always held to it from childhood or something, like being disciplined. No, that's not what we're dealing with now. This is different. Throw that old thought out of your brain. Discipline is something that's stabilizing. It's something good. It's something positive. Willpower is a limited resource. Research from the American Psychological Association. I don't have to read all that all the way through. Don't worry, you guys. I won't bore you with that. But shows that willpower functions like a muscle. It gets fatigued with overuse. Oh, I thought they were going to say move it or lose it. It gets fatigued with overuse. So willpower will run out. This is why disciplined people reduce decisions, automate routines, and protect their energy. Well, I'll tell you, when you quit drinking, like somebody like myself, you have to have boundaries. I was lucky, and I'm very rare here. I literally could go. I worked in a bar, and I got it as soon as I quit drinking. I got the job in the bar, believe it or not. I couldn't have worked in there as a drinker because I would have drank everything in sight. But I worked in a bar, so being around alcohol wasn't what triggered me. Certain people did. So I couldn't be around certain people. I had to, put boundaries in areas of where I would hang. And they wouldn't necessarily be bad people. They would be great people, fun people, fantastic people. But unfortunately, I would misbehave. So I had to put boundaries like that up, and stuff like that isn't forever. So always know that, like, when you're trying to do something on willpower, it will run out. Make it easy on yourself. This is why you reduce things that'll make you fall off the wagon. Small wins create momentum. So even me going to the gym yesterday for the first time, hopefully I can go tomorrow now. Saturday is my day, and then I try and go on Monday, Thursday, Saturday. I go 3 times a week. And if I only go once or twice, I don't hate myself for it, because like I said, it's more about my community, my peers, because I do like seeing that group of people. They mean a lot to me, and I do tend to lift heavier there. I don't lift as heavy at home. So that's why I like it too. And that's a choice. It's not what everybody has to do. Making small, consistent progress boosts motivation more than big breakthroughs. That's interesting. Making small, consistent progress boosts motivation more than a big breakthrough. I guess I believe that because, it's like, getting little bits as you go will just keep the momentum going, rather than just getting a big giant breakthrough and expecting you last on willpower for a long time. This supports your message that discipline is self-respect. So that's chat telling me. This supports the message that discipline is self-respect. Tiny promises kept matter. That's really cool. People with higher self-discipline are happier. I believe that because the small wins make you feel good about yourself, and the whole circle of confidence. Because when I worked in the bars and other addicts or people with issues with that sort of thing, I almost want to stop calling them addicts. There's got to be a different word for it. But anyway,
Dependent. There you go.
yeah, they would come and they'd be like, "Hey, how are you doing it?" Because some of them were still using, it was kind of cool because that kept me in that realm so I could still talk to people that were in the pits, because the trenches are where you can really get people, help people, I often feel. And the trenches aren't where everybody wants to go because it's icky, and it can be, but lucky for me, I could work in the bar, and so they'd come up to me and say, "Hey, like, how do you do it? You're around all this stuff." And I was like, "Dude or girl or whatever, I have my self-esteem." Because addiction will take your self-esteem like that. I mean, it just ruins it. So there's never been one soul that I haven't said that to, and there's been hundreds, maybe thousands that I've said that to, and they all go, "Oh yeah," because it's worth it. So that little bit of being able to have your self-esteem and your self-respect, because yeah, you do. It does start to chip away at you. Trust me, when you can't control something, it sucks. That it is like discipline. This supports the message that discipline is self-respect, a promise, and promises kept matter. So you are discipline equals less chaos and more peace. So that would be another reason why people are happier. This is from the Journal of Personality, found that people with higher self-control reported higher life satisfaction. Not because they were stricter, but because they avoided the stress of constant conflict with themselves. Because boy, that would be my issue, always having conflict with myself. Discipline is more predictive of success than IQ. So research from the University of Pennsylvania, I know people that have gone there, showed that self-discipline was a stronger predictor of academic performance than intelligence. I believe that for sure. Translation for your audience, showing up beats being naturally talented. So we know that in athletics. There's athletes that are fantastic. They're amazing. They were born that way, but maybe they don't go to practice. Maybe they don't. And then there's that athlete, and I was always that one. I felt like I was good. I was DNA good, but there were people that were better than me, but I would show up. I would show up. I would show up. I would practice, 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 because I also knew that practice made perfect. So, and I didn't mean to say perfect. That goes back to the perfectionism thing, but you know what I mean? You will get better if you improved. Yeah, definitely. Because I always wonder with the masters athletes, with the athletes that are real, like how much are they dealing with the demon of perfectionism? How much? I mean, Arnold will say he stared in that mirror for, he was the ultimate perfectionist and picked his body apart. I think different sports maybe, but I think perfectionism is more common than we want to admit. And that small little loop made me go bloop and and take me off track. But discipline is more predictive of success than IQ. So yes, that's where it gets in. The practice makes perfect. So even being really intelligent doesn't mean that you have the ability to discipline yourself. And we definitely know that. I know that because I know a lot of really smart people that I work for. Because I'm the teacher of discipline. That's my job. I'm a fitness coach. But yeah, I work with very intelligent, fascinating people through my life. Translation for your audience, showing up beats being naturally talented. So athletes use discipline to reduce stress. So sports psychology research shows that disciplined routines, we definitely know that, lower anxiety because they create predictability. which is interesting. Like something like bodybuilding is definitely a routine. You were a coach of sports where every move is different every day, every game, every practice, everything is different. That's why I've always, like, I had a coach say to me last week, "Oh, we're the same as you guys." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't think so. I respect coaches so much. I'm not saying that you guys are better than me. It's just, it's a changing field. It's not predictable. Mine can be very predictable." You know what I'm saying? So that's why they say in sports psychology, the athletes have routines, at least for their practice. So they're ready for the unpredictability of a game. It reduces the stress. They're prepared. There's that. This is why masters athletes thrive. Structure becomes a form of emotional regulation. And Tammy Saunders, I follow her and I follow Marsha, and they are training. They're training for the open. I can't wait. I kind of can't wait to cheer those girls on. It's so cool. It's so cool to know people from that world. And, like, I'm going to start advertising. Maybe this is too forward, but I'm like, I get girl crushes on Instagram, and then I stalk them and ask them to be on my podcast.
Well, there's not enough coverage of these athletes.
I know.
I mean, we've already kind of realized that there's definitely some sort of a void to fill.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep doing it, keep having masters athletes on, maybe not just in CrossFit, but I have a special one that I've always admired through my whole career coming in. I never want to jinx myself, that agreed to come on the podcast. It's very exciting for me. So we'll be having some cool guests coming in March. But I like hearing, like, I want to ask them about the perfectionism piece. I want to ask them about some of the stuff because we're not all created the same. They are, they're different than us. And if you recall, Marsha 1 week said, no, she believes that everybody can train to her level. So I think sometimes when they're that good, they don't realize that that everybody's not at their level. They're just not. It's kind of cute. She's so humble. I love her. The brain loves routines. Neuroscience shows that habits move from the prefrontal, I have to read this, the prefrontal cortex, effort, to the basal ganglia, automaticity, so automation. Neuroscience shows that habits move from the prefrontal cortex, effort, to the basal ganglia, automaticity, so automation, so it starts where it's effort, so that's where the habit is building, and then it moves to where it's just normal. So in the beginning, I'm building the habit of not drinking in my life 15 years ago, going, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. So it takes effort. And it did. I went to support groups. I might have put myself in therapy. I'm not sure. I think I know that I hung on the support group. It takes effort. You need help. Maybe, every problem's different, but, so effort. Then it becomes automatic and you don't need as much help. And it'll be just, in your muscle memory. So shows that habits move from, all right, we already did that. Sorry. Once something becomes a habit, it requires almost no mental energy. So discipline is the bridge between hard and automatic. This is a good podcast, isn't it? I don't mean to, I don't mean to pat like this is all research. This isn't
It's
me.
just amazing how difficult we can make things as humans. When just do it, it'll be that much simpler,
I do. My being a procrastinator, Steve, you know how long I sit around fretting doing something when I could have just done it and be done? Like, yes. Oh my God. That's why I was like, I am not going into 60 doing this BS anymore. This is immature behavior. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, why?
Yeah,
just do it.
It's
seriously. So crazy.
Have more inside your brains less do not compute, do not compute, and more compute.
Or just be like, or I'm not doing it. Like, just like like that on the fence place. I just don't want to be there anymore. How can you use these? Oh, sorry. This is a note to me. It says, how can you use these in the episode? You can weave these in as did you know moments, quick punchy transitions, credibility boosters, blah 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 blah. So sorry to bore you with that. I usually make the writing bigger so I can decipher like what I'm supposed to be saying and whatnot. And I just get a bunch of fun facts like I did. Like I said, I got chat to do that. And I find that fascinating. So how I'm going to close with is the brain loves routines. Discipline is the bridge between hard and automatic. It doesn't say how long it takes, but I have learned in the past that it takes about 30 days to really cement a habit in, which is why back in the day treatment centers were 28 days long. So there was even a movie that Sandra Bullock was in. It was called 28 Days. It was about her going to rehab and falling in love, because that happens in rehab a lot, y'all. We all have to feel better about ourselves. So a lot of times we reach out. And that's what that movie was. Back in the 90s, they made that movie. But habits are formed in 28 days, they were believed scientifically. And where you need a lot of support, and that would be in fitness. Since we're a wellness program, it doesn't hurt to join a group. And now with these phones, you can join a Facebook group. You don't need money. The thing that I hear the most of holdbacks is time and money, and that's legit because I lack both. But you can make the time. It's just you got to figure it out. That's something that you just got to open up your calendar and make a date with yourself if it needs to be that intense. Meet a friend, do something. I understand the time being an issue, and the money thing I definitely get too. But we've got Facebook groups and we've got YouTube. If you can motivate yourself. In fact, one of my clients just asked me for an ab routine that she can do on her own. Do you think that I'm going to send her one of me? No, you know why? Not because I'm lazy, but because YouTube has tons of them. And don't you think she's probably sick of hearing from me? Don't you think she'd love to see a different person showing her an ab routine? So I'll see if there's some good ones online and send her one. That's what I was going to do. So when you hire fitness trainers, we're more like a coach too. We just help you do things. It doesn't always have to be me. And so because she wanted an ab routine for the days off. And I joke, not everybody just wants to hear me day in, day out. So remember, YouTube is the more information that you put in that little magnifying glass. You can say, I have 10 minutes. I want an ab routine. Matt, how old you are, or you could say standing, whatever, and you will get it in seconds. It's fantastic. So with that, I am going to close out for the week. And I hope that you guys join us next Friday at 2:30. Is that what we decided, Steve?
Yep.
So Fridays at 2:30, and that might fluctuate some time, but we'll always give you a heads up. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome, Sis. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Oh, I liked that. And I'm so glad, that I was disciplined. Because I knew you would have let me out of it. Oh, what a night. I mean, I'll spare people singing. See ya. I feel so much better.